It is your Classic Metal Show right here on your ClassicMetalShow.com. That is Facing the Fallout from Shadowbane.
Like it.
Now, do I sound any better in your end?
Yeah, you sound just like normal now.
All right. I had to switch the mic over, the mic input, so we're good.
That's all fun. It's all good. I actually kind of liked hearing it the other way, other than the phone call that I did not hear. I liked it the other way because I could hear your chick laughing in the background.
Right. Who? What?
All right. I mean, that laugh track you had.
Yeah,
going,
that laugh track
made me feel like I was very funny.
Right. Exactly.
No. Yeah, you sound fine.
All right. Excellent. All right. So you were out and about. I noticed that you had posted some drink-related posts. You were out and about. What were you doing?
Yesterday was Kelly's birthday, or the day before was, but we went out yesterday for. I thought it was going to be dinner, but it wasn't. It was just drinks, and as usual, Shenanigans follow me. So we went to this little bar. It is the place is called the Little City Grill.
Okay.
It's, the reason we went there, I think I actually talked about this place before, but I didn't know the name of the place. A couple weeks ago, when I was telling you about, we ordered prime rib at 4:00 and they were already fucking sold out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same place, because they do have cheap drinks. So we went, we go over there, and we got there ahead of, there was like 8 of us total that were going.
Wow. Did Chris pick up the tab?
I picked up probably a large portion of it.
All right.
My bar bill was $150 out the door. I don't think anybody else spent that. So I don't know. But it was all drinks. It wasn't, well, we'll get into the food in a minute too.
Well, when you add up, $5 to $7 per drink, it doesn't take very long to add that up.
No, not really. And we were drinking all doubles. So, at least Kelly and I were drinking all doubles. And it's funny though, because there was 8 of us there, and there was 2 of us that were throwing down, as you could imagine, me and her. Everybody else was like 2 beers, a beer and a shot, and that was it. And then they slowly but surely flaked away. And then it was just me and her that ended up at the bar, or at the table. But I'll get to that. So we get there, and it's just me and her at first, and we sit down at the bar, because the place was surprisingly, we didn't expect it to be really, really packed. It's a restaurant that could probably seat, I would say, maybe 60 people. I don't know, is that a good size restaurant or a small restaurant?
I would say that's a fairly decent size.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably 10, 15 booths, and then like 2 tables and then a bar. That's about the size of the place, and that'll play here in a minute. So we got there, and every booth and every table was taken. So we were like, all right, well, we'll just sit at the bar, and we'll move whenever a table comes due, and that way when her friends get there, we'll know how many people were going to show up, because it was all her friends. It was like, it was her birthday, so it was her friends. So we're sitting at the bar, and we're immediately pounding drinks. As quick as we could get them, we were putting drinks down. And slowly but surely, her friends started showing up. And we were sitting, the way the bar is situated, there's like a door, and then you kind of come through a little hallway, and right at the end of that little hallway, or foyer, or whatever that's called, is where the bar starts, and where there's some tables right next to where the bar is. And so we were right there on the end, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And her friends started showing up. Well, they started gathering. There was no tables and no chairs anywhere to sit. So they were just kind of standing, kind of in the way of anybody else getting into the place. So it was one of them situations where people had to keep moving back and forth, and it was okay. It was fine. People were telling stories or whatever, and, the normal bar bullshit that goes on. Well, right behind us was 2 tables, and they were like together, and there was some old family that was eating there, and
some old family.
They were old. They were fucking old. I hate to say it because, I'm turning 50, but these were old people. These were like fucking came in with their walkers to eat.
Right.
Because it was the Friday night fish fry, all you can eat for $10.
Sure.
So they were there getting their fill.
It was some old family.
It was some old family.
All right.
And there's like 6 of them sitting at the table. Well, they left, and the waitress, for whatever reason, was unbelievably fucking slow at every turn, at getting food for us, at getting drinks for us, at everything. So we sat there for a minute, or probably about 5 minutes. I was eyeing up the table because I thought that the whole situation of us all gathered, huddled around a chair at the bar was stupid.
Okay.
So I just jumped up and was like, all right, we're fucking moving to this table. And they were all looking at me like, what are you talking about? There's still food and shit on the table. I just walked right over to the fucking table and started taking food off the table.
Yeah.
I did. I just picked it all up, put it on the bar. I was like, get this shit out of here. So I move it out. Then the waitress comes over and yells at me, that's my job. Don't be moving. And I was like, well, you're not doing your job.
Yeah, get with it.
Table.
Get with it.
And I did. She snapped at me, and I snapped right back at her. I was like, well, do your job. Clear the fucking table. And so eventually she did, and we all sat down around this table. So once we sit down around this table, I mean, you know how this goes, dude, especially when it's like a bunch of people that don't really know each other. And it was really apparent that nobody really knew each other.
Okay. Now, how is it that they all got invited to this thing?
They all know Kelly.
Okay.
But they don't know each other.
All right.
So it's not like Kelly has a group of friends, like a pack that goes out. She has, varied friends. And I knew 2 of the people that were there.
All right.
2 of the 7 that were there, 7 and me. So you know how that goes. You get around a table, you start having small talk. Well, immediately with me just fucking grabbing the table, everybody's like, good Lord, what's up with this fucking guy? Because I'm being a wise ass and I'm being loud and I'm being myself because I had quite a few drinks in me by that point already.
I don't think I've ever known that side of you.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing, but I did have a couple of drinks. But we just kept on drinking, and we were, it was like a small talk thing. Oh, what do you do? Guy telling me a story about when he was out, hunting for treasure with a fucking metal detector, and another guy talking about how he used to snowboard in Arizona in the winter. I mean, it was that, that small talk stuff that you do to be polite and, pretend you care. You know how that goes, man.
Yeah, I know how that goes. I'm an expert at that.
Well, I'm not, dude. Without exception, it always comes back to me because I live a more exciting life.
Yeah, well, you're not the run-of-the-mill guy like me. I'm not the run-of-the-mill guy.
Yeah, I mean, it always ends up where, but after everybody's told their one story that they save for this moment, then it's up to me to fucking carry the ball. And so then I did. I started holding court, and I'm telling all these different stories about bands, and these guys are all like, "Oh, this guy or that guy," or Kelly's talking about the show and how funny the show is, and blah blah blah. So the whole time, her and I are drinking doubles as fast as they can bring them. She's drinking double Jack and Waters. I'm drinking double Jack and Cokes, and we get a bunch of them in us. And at some point we were probably, I don't know, 10 drinks or so in. And I could see she is definitely one of those that, like, when you watch them get drunk, she's like, good, hammered. There's not that middle ground. Right. There's not that fade into it.
Yeah.
Where
it's like flipping a switch.
Yeah, and I think I'm the same way, aren't I? I'm usually pretty good for a while, and then I'm
the thing with you is it's hard to tell when you're just being Chris or just being hammered, because I mean, I've seen you operate after drinking 30 drinks.
Yeah, I know.
And still
not
standing and not slurring and,
Yeah, well, I'm a pro's pro when it comes to alcoholism. That's for sure.
Right.
But I could tell she started getting fucked up. So I ordered a nacho plate. I ordered this big nacho plate for the fucking table. And they bring the nacho plate over, and I'll side with her that it was pretty gross. It was like, I don't know, dude, they bring out this nacho plate. It has, they said it was pulled pork. I think it was tuna fish that was browned somehow. It was fucking nasty. And instead of like, with nachos, you have like some cheese on them or what is that stuff? Sour cream, something, right?
Yeah.
These had barbecue sauce all over them. And that's too much. That's too sweet for when you're drinking.
Yeah.
And then barbecue sauce on allegedly pork, but I'll say tuna fish.
Right. Browned tuna fish.
Brown tuna fish with barbecue sauce. It was nasty.
Yeah.
But I could tell Kelly was getting fucked up, so I wanted her to eat something. Because I had thought we were going to do dinner, and we just didn't. We just got right to drinking. And so she doesn't. She's like, I'm not eating that. Fuck that. So I pushed the plate away. Everybody takes the nachos that was going to eat them. We threw half that shit away. But I call the guy over that we had a guy that was bringing us drinks, and he was taking our next drink order. And I said, hey, do you got some kind of fucking bread? I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to give her some bread, get her, soak up a little bit of this alcohol. And,
right.
Bring her back a little bit. So the guy goes, yeah, we don't have any bread or rolls, but we have garlic bread.
Garlic bread.
So I said, yeah, sure. I said, give me an order of garlic bread. He comes back with 2 fucking pieces of garlic bread, 2 little triangles of garlic bread that I swear to God were the size of, remember the paper footballs you made in junior high school?
Yeah.
They were that big. 2 fucking little tiny, it was like 2 crackers on a plate. I looked at him. I looked at this guy and I go, really? And he's like, what? I was like, dude, I ordered a thing of garlic bread. You brought me fucking this? And he was like, well, that's what you ordered. I was like, what did I have to order? 8 of them to get a fucking loaf? I mean, shit, it's bread. How much does bread cost?
Right.
And I didn't look, but I'll bet I paid $5 for this fucking 2 slivers of bread.
Right.
So, of course, she eats one of the slivers of bread. And then it was on by that point. Then she was like, fuck it, just give me another drink. I was like, okay, cool. So slowly but surely her friends, drift away, drift out, leave. She had one friend that was having dinner somewhere else. She had another friend that, that are married and they're going back to the husband, blah, 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 whatever. Life, just regular life stuff.
Yeah, sure.
So in the end, it ends up with me and her. And I could just tell she was done. And I was like, are you able to get out of here? And she's like, not sure. It's like, okay. So we get up and she is definitely stagger drunk. And I lead her I'm behind her so she doesn't fall backwards.
Yeah, and she can't lean on you because you'll fuck up your back.
My back's all fucked up, which is like, all right, I'm gonna wing this and hope to God nothing happens.
You're gonna try to steer her.
Yeah, and that's what I did. I got her to the car. I got her in the car. She sits down. I close the door. The place, just so that anybody, if you want to know, is maybe a quarter mile from her house.
All right.
I mean, and I don't think it's even that far. It's 5 steps past walking distance, whatever you would call that. But thank God we drove over there because there was no way was she walking home.
Right.
No fucking way. So I get her in the car. I get in the car. I start the car. I pull up the street 10 feet. Immediately, my window goes down, and she is just fucking projectile throwing up.
Nice.
Just like a fucking... like a 1975 Buick that won't start.
Yeah, there's like there goes $80 worth of booze.
Exactly. Just feeding it to the fucking lawn. Oh, she just was projectile puking. And then it was, so then we get back to her house, and I go to help her out of the car. And I just look at my door and I'm like, oh man. I mean, just brutal. It looked like somebody took a fucking bowl of Quaker oatmeal and threw it on my door. I was like, son of a bitch.
Did she get any on the inside, or was it all on the outside?
I'll give her that. She got it all out.
Yeah.
There's none on the inside of my car, but the outside of my car looked like a slop test for Quaker. It just was brutal.
It's like, hurry up, get that off my paint. It's going to eat right through.
Well, I was hammered too, to be honest. I wasn't going to be cleaning my car.
What? Chris Aiken was hammered too?
Yeah, imagine that.
And you were driving?
Imagine that.
Wow, that's unlike you.
I'm not admitting to the driving part. I'm just saying the car rolled to her house.
Right.
But so I get her in to her place, which getting her up, there's like 3 steps she has to walk to get into her place. I push her into her place, and
you push her in?
I quite literally was behind her, hand in the middle of her back, braced so that if she started to fall, she wouldn't fall. And I just stayed 1 step behind her with my hand over my head, holding her to push her through, to get into the house. So I get her in the house, and I just gave her a couch like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
A little love seat type thing.
Right.
It's kind of like you walk in the door, and then right to the right is the little couch thing. And she gets in, and she just falls over the fucking rail of the love seat right into the chair and is just down. And I'm like, oh fuck. And she has these big dogs.
Yeah.
And I'm big. They're 100-pound dogs, like big giant dogs.
Yeah, she could ride them.
She could ride them. A kid could for sure ride them. Her, it might look a little odd. It might look a little odd, but it would be, I would think it's doable, to say the least. So she's there. The dog jumps up on her and just lays down on top of her. And I'm like, I can't just leave her like this. So I'm like,
but Chris Aiken got a conscience on top of that.
I do. So I said to her, come on, let me get you to bed. Let me put you to bed. And she's like, I'm fine right here. I already got a blanket. I thought the fucking dog was a blanket. I'm a fucking dog.
Canine blanket.
Yeah, exactly. So I shooed the dog off, and I picked her up, and I put her in bed, and I positioned her head to make sure that if she puked, it was off the bed.
Right.
And then I headed out, and I got my ass home, and so I got home, and I was fine. So fast forward to this morning. This morning, I wake up, and I'm like, I go to look. She called me early because she, of course, like all her friends gave her gifts, and she left them at the bar.
Oh, nice.
But she wanted to see if I had somehow picked them up and put them in my car. And so 9 o'clock in the morning, and my head is fucking banging out of my skull, out of the skin in my head, and I'm like, okay, let me go out there and look. So I go out to my car, and now that it's light, I can get a good look at my car. And it's like, it's got the handle that it's not like a pull-up. It's not like an old pull-up handle. It's like the modern handles.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That have like the little mechanism type thing.
Yeah, that you could lock the door with and all that.
Yeah. In all of the crevices of the door handle is just caked in vomit.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like, motherfucker. And I'm like, I am not. And it's pouring fucking rain on top of it. So, and all this told me was that the rain was not going to wash off this car, right? Because it's been raining, and the puke is all over the car, including all in this mechanism.
Right.
So I go out on this mission to find myself a car wash that's open in the winter in the rain. And believe it or not, I did find one. I drove around for a little bit, and then I did find a car wash that was open. So I drive into the car wash, and the guy, it's one of those where you get out of the car and they drive it through and they do all the it's more like a detailing.
They wipe it down for you, and they dry it off and wipe down the interior and everything.
Yeah, and it's like a detailing thing more than just a car wash.
Right.
Like they'll do the interior as well if you want them to.
Mm-hmm, sure.
And but meanwhile, I just want them to wash the fucking puke off my door. That's the only thing I wanted to get done was to wash my car. So I go, and the guy comes over and goes, "Do you want me to clean the inside of your car?" And I was like, "No, just the outside." He's like, he looks at me and he looks back. He goes, "It's raining, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know it's raining, but I got to get this puke off my car." And he just laughed because I just said it. I just said, "Yeah, I got to get this puke off my car."
Yeah.
But he's like, "Okay, go in and pay for the thing in there. And by the time you're done paying for it, it'll be out the other end." I was like, "Okay." So I go in and I'm talking to the girl to pay for it. And she goes, she charged me the, whatever it was, $20 or $15 or whatever. I don't even know. I didn't even look. I was just ashamed to be there. But she goes, "Keep the receipt and you can come back tomorrow when it's not raining and they'll wash the outside too." And I was like, no, I need them to wash the outside today. And she just looked at me like I was a stupid fucking moron.
Right.
But what am I going to do? I got to get that shit out of the mechanisms and stuff, or I got to do it by hand, and I'm not doing that. So I just go through, and the guy, when he gives me my keys to my car, he's just laughing his ass off. He's like, and I said, "Come on, man. I know I'm not the first person that's ever come in for this." He goes, No, there's one of you every weekend. And so I got my car back, and then I, went on about my way. But that was my drunken tale of yesterday. It as always happens with me, it turns into something fairly fun.
So not only did she puke up $80 worth of alcohol, but then you had to spend $20 on a car wash to get rid of the evidence.
Exactly.
So basically $100 down the drain.
Yeah, it wasn't down the drain. It was fun.
Yeah, happy birthday to you.
Yeah, we had a good time.
All right.
It was fun, dude. Me with money, I don't give a shit. As long as I'm having fun, it's worth spending the money. It's when I'm not having fun and I'm spending money that it's a problem.
Right. Well, I'll tell a little personal story.
Okay.
Years ago, when I lived in California.
Right.
We had Blue Oyster Cult play at the club I was working at.
Okay.
And we had a waitress that was working there, and for some reason during her shift, I don't know exactly, because we had a packed house,
right? And
she was working all night. Well, during her shift, she was downing shots of tequila.
Okay.
I don't know if people were just buying it for her or whatever, but at the end of the night, she was pretty hammered. I mean, just hammered.
Right.
And the lady who owned the bar, she's kind of like my second mom. And she said, "Would you do me a favor and see that she gets home okay?"
Okay.
She goes, just drive her home. Make sure she gets it, because she is no condition to drive.
Sure.
And I knew this girl. She was kind of a friend of mine.
Right.
And so I was telling her, I said, let's go. I'm going to drive you home. "No, I don't need you to drive me home. I'm fine. She's fighting me tooth and nail the whole way.
Sure.
I said, "Come on, I'll drive you home. I'll make sure you get home safe." No, you don't need to drive me home. Well, I was going to drive her car and drop her off, and then I'd, figure out a way of, I'd bring her car back and then maybe pick her up the next day or something. Right. So she drove like a little Ford Festiva or something like that. It was just a little Ford two-door stick shift.
Okay.
And I finally got her into the passenger seat, and I start up the car, and she's fighting me tooth and nail the whole time. "I don't need you to drive me. I don't need you to drive me." And just like, I just sit there. You're going to be home in a few minutes. Don't worry. I'll make sure you're home safe.
Sure.
So I start the car up and I put it in reverse, and it's a stick shift. Right. And I turn around to look over my shoulder as I'm backing out of the parking space. Mm-hmm. The minute I turned my head to look over my shoulder, she reached over, snatched the keys out of the ignition, and bailed out of the passenger side with the keys.
What?
and so...
Did you drive?
Huh?
She wasn't going to let you drive.
No, she wasn't going to she didn't want me to drive her in her home.
Right.
And so I got out of the car and she's in the parking lot. I'm just like, her name was Mikey. I said, come on, Mikey. I said, come on, let me just drive you home. Everything will be okay.
Sure.
Well, she kept, kind of dodging. For somebody who was as wasted as she was pretty nimble.
Okay.
And so it's like, listen, I'm not going to chase you. I said, I'm just trying to do you a favor here. But, there's no reasoning with a drunk.
No, none at all.
And so, long story short, she ends up getting around the driver's side, gets in the car, closes the door, locks the door, starts the car up, and takes off like a bat out of hell.
Okay.
And I'm just like, ugh. So I got in my car. I just wanted to make sure she got home okay. So I got in my car, and I could not catch her. She was going like crazy through these streets were like 35 mile an hour, right? And it's like 2:00 in the morning, and it's just like, I'm not drawing attention myself, right. So I tried to, keep an eye out, but all I could see was tail lights.
Okay.
So before I know it, I get down to a intersection to take a right. She's nowhere to be seen, gone, like, just out of sight.
Right.
So I turn the corner, get down the road, which is down where she lived, and before I see cop lights.
Okay.
So I pull up. Sure as shit, they got her pulled over. She's already out of the car. The cop is talking to her. I could see her. She's just waving her hands and carrying on, and
Sure.
So I get out of the car, and the other cop, he sees me. I pulled up. I get out of the car, and he says, is there something I can help you with? I said, well, that's just a friend of mine. I just wanted to make sure she was okay. And he goes, yeah, she's fine. Don't worry about it. She got pulled over right in front of her apartment complex.
Oh, man.
Right in front.
2 feet away.
And the whole time I was talking to the cop about it, she's yelling, I don't know him. I don't know who he is. I don't know who that guy. And I said, he goes, unless you have some business here, sir, just move along. I said, okay, fine.
All right.
So I left. I was just like, fuck this.
You're like, fuck you, pal.
Exactly. So I went home and went to bed. Next day about noon or 2, the phone rings.
Okay.
And it's her. Right. And she's just, just normal. And I was just like, hey, what's up? And she goes, hey, she goes, that was quite a night last night. I said, yeah, that was. And she goes, you're not going to believe what happened to me. And I said, what happened? She says, I got pulled over by the police.
Really?
I said, you did? She goes, yeah. And she starts telling me that the cop, checked her out and basically pulled her car into the visitor parking lot.
Sure.
And took her to her house, opened up her door, did what you did, pushed her inside, threw her keys inside the door, and then closed the door and left. He didn't take her to jail, nothing.
Right.
And I was just like, that's pretty wild. They said, you wouldn't think that I know anything about that, would you? And she's like, what do you mean? And I said, I was there. And
what?
Of course it was like, you were? And I told her what had happened and stuff, and she was just like, oh my God. But the cop didn't arrest her, even though she was blind drunk.
Yeah, well, that's how it used to be in the old days.
Yeah, this was back in like 89, I think, 88, 89.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, somebody that just blind drunk, just getting out of the ticket, that definitely, she would have gone to jail today.
Sure. Well, dude, I mean, I think I've told this story before on the show. Maybe not. I don't know. But there's a bar up the road there in Hudson, which is like one town over from me, called Marcelita's. I don't even think it's there anymore. But they used to have...
Was it an Italian place?
No, Mexican.
Mexican. Yeah, I vaguely remember that. That was just before you get into Hudson on 91 there, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Well, I used to hang out at this store in Solon called the Disc Den. It was a guy that had a disc store.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. And we would go on Wednesday nights when he closed the store at 10. We would go up there and they would have pitchers of margaritas for like cheap, like $10 pitchers or something. And we would drink as many pitchers as we could until they closed at like 1 a.m. on a Wednesday. So we would drink for 3 hours of margaritas, or 2.5 hours of margaritas, and we would get fucked up, you know, especially once we got to know the bartender a little bit. Then he'd make the pitchers, you know, just a little bit stronger. You know, he did us a solid. So one night I was coming home from there and I was bombed. I mean, I was bombed. And I was driving through my town, through Twinsburg, and I saw the lights come on, you know, behind me. And I was like, son of a fucking bitch. I am so dead. I was like, if I could have put handcuffs on myself in the car, I would have. I was so done. And there was going to be no faking it. There's not going to be any way to do it. You know, I was dead. So like I pull over, cop comes over to the window, taps the window. I roll the window down. I don't even look at the cop because I just knew I was, you know, I knew even if I turned my head, I was going to waft just alcohol at this fucking guy. So I roll down the window and the cop happened to be my friend Josh.
Okay.
And he goes to me, he goes, Are you fucked up? And I said, Are you asking me as my friend Josh, or are you asking me as Officer McTarian? And he goes, just answer me. Are you fucked up? And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty fucked up. And he's like, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to drive in front of you. You're going to follow. If you swerve, you're going to jail. If you hit me, you're going to jail. If you slow down, you're going to jail. If you do anything, you're going to jail. And then he just led me for the, 2 or 3 miles, whatever it is, from the center of town to my house. He led me to my house and, you know, got me into my driveway and then yelled at me, you know, for being a douche and putting him on the line for that because he didn't want to arrest me.
Right.
He's my friend. And it ended up costing me about 60 CDs because he came over the next day once I was sobered up just to fucking yell at me some more. Which, you know, so I got it from him that night. Then I got it from the wife.
Oh, of course.
And then I got it from him again with the wife, because when he came in, then the wife has to come in to chime in again about what an asshole I am.
Right.
But then the way I made nice with him was I let him take like a whole, you know, you remember the old days when I used to have like hundreds of CDs, review CDs.
Yeah.
I just was like, look, dude, you did me a solid, so I'll do you a solid. And I threw every CD I had on my desk in a bag, and I said, here, take these. And, you know, I gave him like $700 worth of CDs.
Right.
You know, for doing me a favor of not busting me out. But yeah, it has been known to happen, but you got to be damn lucky. I mean, I know for a fact, if any other cop in Twinsburg, and I know several of the cops, but if it would have been any other cop, I would have gone to jail.
Yeah.
I would have definitely got the DWI. And that's no fun. That's expensive.
Well, when you and I used to do the CMS nights out years ago,
right?
It was just a good thing that you know, I'm not the big drinking guy, so you always had a ride home.
Sure. Oh yeah. Yeah, because and the infamous one was the one in 2013.
Yeah.
Or was that 2012, 13? What was that?
Well, obviously your birthday.
My birthday, so that was 12. That was right. Yeah, because that was right after the divorce. And all I know is I woke up the next day. I didn't know where my car was. I didn't know where my computers were. I didn't know what happened to you. I didn't know what happened to anything. I was like, I woke up in John and AJ's apartment, and I was like, how the fuck did I get here? Where's my car? Where's my keys? Where's my shoes?
She took my shoes.
She took my shoes. No, and I didn't know what happened. And, and then as the story started coming in, I was like, oh, boy, I guess I really was a little out of control.
Yeah.
It happens sometimes.
It does happen sometimes, but everything was packed away safely, and your computers and everything were all safe.
Yeah, it doesn't happen to you ever, but it definitely happens to me sometimes.
Yeah, sure. Well, hopefully that won't happen at the home bar.
No, I would hope not.
May 4th, 5th, and 6th in Arlington Heights, Illinois.
Yeah.
Where Chris and I will be there to
We will be there.
Host the Melodic Rock Fest.
Yeah. And the infamous Kelly will be there, too, so maybe we'll get her all fucked up.
Oh, she's going with you.
Yeah, she's going.
All right.
She's planning to go, so we'll see.
Well,
I'll believe that when I'm driving toward Chicago and she's sitting in the passenger seat.
Well, I hope more of our CMS fans will come out to that as well.
I hope so, man. I mean, we're going to have fun. Even if you're not huge into these bands, and look, if we're going to be real here, I don't know the music of a lot of these bands. I'm listening to it on the fly right now, trying to get myself acquainted with quite a bit of it myself. But you'll have a good time. The tunes are going to be good. It's not going to be awful. And you know how Neely and I are. You know what we do. And we'll make it fun. For CMS fans, you will have fun. I could pretty much, I think I can speak for us both to say that we will make our piece of the puzzle will be fun. Is that fair?
I would say that's fair. And I might even offer to buy you a drink.
Well, look at that. Is that me or the fans?
Well, both.
Oh, wow. Okay, now we're talking. And you know what I might do? I might allow Neely to buy you a drink.
Right, exactly.
No,
Hail and Kill, caller, you're on the air.
Hey, this is Lewis.
Hey, Lewis. Lewis, you gotta.
Man,
Lewis,
I just couldn't
Lewis.
Back. I'm sorry.
Lewis.
What?
Just like at a bar, you have a 2-drink minimum. Tonight you got a 2-call minimum, and this is your second call, so
okay,
make it a good one.
All right.
Make it a good one.
Okay, that's fine. Well, the only reason I was calling it initially, until Chris started going off on his thing, was where's Tim?
Tim who?
Tim.
Tim James?
Yeah, what do you mean, Tim who? I mean, where's Tim, man? I mean, he's one of my favorite people.
All right, Lewis, your manager is definitely on the other line telling us you got to go.
All right. No, I'm just saying.
So
where's
am I.
at,
I'm just saying, too.
Tim calls in when he feels like calling in, just like you, Lewis.
Yeah, right. No, but I'm just saying is that, I mean, it's been a couple of weeks. I haven't heard from him.
Oh my God! Well, I will forward your information on to Tim and have him call you directly.
Hey, Neely, is that Tim on the other line?
I think that's Tim on the other line.
All right, we're gonna go to Tim now, Lewis.
All right, hey Tim, how are you?
Hey, buddy, Motley Crue.
Where's Tim?
Where's Tim?
Hey, where's the real Jeff Tate? Hey, where's Doghouse?
We don't control the callers.
Hey, where's Cerberus?
Where's the evil Batman when we need him?
Yeah. Where are those guys? How come they don't call in anymore?
Where's the Lemster?
Hey, how come we haven't heard from Bob Leather lately? Where's he been?
What the hell, man? Where's Badass Boone? Oh, we know where he is.
Right.
He's hosting that big rock concert in the sky.
He is.
He's got his golden microphone and his wings.
So funny. Well, we appreciate people who are fans of the show and all, but we don't control the people who call in.
Yeah. How about you let us manage the show?
Yeah.
How about that, Lewis?
I love it. Hey, when's the last time you had that guy on?
Yeah. The last time he called. That's when.
Yeah. Well, where is he?
Australia.
I haven't heard from him in a week. Where's he been?
Well, listen to a replay and you can hear from him.
All right. I think we're going to take a short break here.
Yeah, good point, Steve Jackson. Where's MOL?
Yeah.
Haven't heard from him in a long time.
Yeah.
What the hell?
We need to round these guys up and get them to get on the show.
Yeah, where's the Snake Man? Where's the Jeffrey C. Music?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Hey, where's Jim Bob?
That's a good point. Where is Jim Bob?
Yeah, where is Jim Bob?
I don't know. I see he's still doing karaoke or open mic night or whatever somewhere near somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's by you anymore or not, but he moved, didn't he? Like away from you?
Yeah, he lives down by Purdue.
Okay.
He lives down in Lafayette or down near there.
Okay. Yeah. So you'll never see him again.
Nope.
Because if it ain't 5 minutes from your house, you're never going.
That's right. All right. Well, let's play a couple of tunes here. I'm going to play something from a band called one of our favorite bands here on the show, Steel Razor.
Like the Steel Razor.
And they have a CD out there called Regeneration.
Cool.
And I'm going to play a tune here called Wings of the Abyss.
Sweet.
All right. Here's Steel Razor exclusively here
On your classic metal show.